Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we are going to talk about the Bells of Steel Landmine attachment, which goes on a Hydra rig. We just opened one of these on accident, and we realized we should probably make a video about this because it's really good information to have. In the world of training, think about kettlebells and clubs as being your absolutely most important things that you can do. Economically, they are the cheapest. They cover all of your fundamental human movement patterns. Kettlebells are your lifting and carrying pattern, your squats, your cleans, your presses, your snatches, your swings, explosive power in one tiny package that you can put in the back of your car and take absolutely anywhere in the world with you. Club swinging is all of your basic human movement patterns. It is the throwing patterns, inside circle, outside circle, shield cast, building towards mill and reverse mill. There's a lot more to it than that, but that is where it starts. Landmine sits in the pantheon of exercises above kettlebells. Think of it as taking the place of Olympic lifting, but putting it back into cross-body stabilization and lining up with your athletic power lines. So barbell, absolutely love it. Barbell Olympic lifting is, an 8 to 12 year path of getting really, really good at something, focusing on the cleans, the squats, the presses, and the jerks. The landmine is how people will get more out of barbell faster. When I say more, I mean more pure athletic development potential. There is a bunch of stuff that goes into athleticism. You have speed, power, you have a bunch of basic human movements, walking, running, quadruped movement, lifting and carrying, throwing pattern, balance. There's big definitions that we're always trying to meet. Landmine meets those needs. We have one set up already, and this is our other one. We didn't take it out of the box because we accidentally already took it out of the box. We have piece one, which is the barbell tube. We have the attachment point, which actually attaches it to the rig. We have the pin, which holds it, and we have the nut system that holds the barbell holder to the rack itself. Inside of that bag, you have a bolt, a nut, and 2 washers. You have your locking collar and the hex tool to lock the collar. Bar piece goes through. We're gonna put this on number 2, just like we did with the other one on the other side. We have our little collar with a nut, which holds it down. Our hex key is gonna go into that so that we can tighten down what's happening here. Over the pin, line it up, and we're gonna get our pin all the way down. Pretty classic. I'm gonna tighten that up a little bit more. I'm gonna get it all the way through, nice and tight. We have our pivot this way, up and down. Now we are going to get our pivot left and right. Using the correct side, I am. Line those 2 things up, drop down through the whole thing. Washer. We're not going to give it a full tighten right now, but now we have something that pivots up and down and left and right. And this is going to allow us to do landmine. We've got a whole pile of brand new barbells here so that we can do landmine training en masse. We've got 15 barbells here, which means we will be able to have 15 landmines, which means we will be able to have somewhere between 15 and 45 people train a landmine seminar at this location. Getting these barbells open is pretty fun. These giant shipping tubes, the way I've been doing this is everybody's gonna hate me for doing this. Some people use a knife only as a cutting tool, but if you work long enough, you have a knife, which is also a dedicated everything tool. Some knives just get really beat up. That's fine. They're taking the place of something like a pry bar. You will dull your knife doing stuff like this. That's fine. Learn to sharpen your knife. We're gonna get that cap off of there. Excellent. Always put your knife away, sharpen it later. Brand new, absolutely beautiful barbell. Barbells, for the most part, are expensive, and they are hard to store. They are, for the most part, 7 feet tall. Super sexy. All these barbells from Bells of Steel are incredibly sexy. The thing that I like a lot is this little in cuts on the barbell sleeve up here, which provide a little bit more traction, and they spin really well. For landmine, you want something that spins really, really well. People are always yelling at me about knife stuff, always. But I think I got my first knife when I was like 3 working on the farm. So for the most part, nobody's died yet. And now barbell goes into the barbell sleeve. So this has not yet been bolted to the ground. Doesn't matter for our setup purposes. This whole setup is not yet done. But now we have something that we can work on all of our basics with. Barbell, kettlebell, dumbbell, club. It does not matter. You will be working on a deadlift, power hip snap in some way, a clean, getting a weight up to your shoulder, a press, a clean and a press, a snatch. The thing that this does is it moves with one hand, cross body, but it allows us to have forward pressure. This is something that is kind of unique in Landmine. You're actually pushing against the load and you're driving up onto your toes. For the most part, kettlebell is done generally flat-footed. You do not have a lot of forward pressure or driving straight forward out of the ball of your foot. Same thing with heavy club swinging. With heavy club swinging, heavy weights means static feet. Medium weights means walking patterns, but there's not a lot of explosive forward drive in either of those other things. Landmine will fill that need and it will allow people to go up in weight much higher and much further than they will be able to do on something like kettlebell. So this is going to fall into the pantheon of training as Landmine, kettlebell, club, mace as being the most important things that I think an athlete can do regardless of budget. Landmine is micro-loadable, which means you can start with a lightweight and you can add Olympic plates and start making it heavier and heavier and heavier. As much weight as you can actually fit on that bar is as much weight as you can actually eventually do. I like this Bells of Steel unit. It's simple, it's not complicated, and it doesn't cost much money. It does attach to a rack. I have this giant, very fancy Hydra rack. And if you are going to try to continue to go up forever in your athletic potential, eventually you will start to get bigger and bigger things. In the beginning, it's kettlebell and club. You can do 5 to 10 years with that. You could do your whole life with that. But if you are going to spend money on something, probably don't spend it on something temporary. Spend it on iron. Things that last longer than you will be alive. Things that will always make your life better, not worse. Life is really long and training should last your entire life. Master each thing. Kettlebells first, clubs next, mace, and then go back and start working on Landmine. It does all the things that it's supposed to do. Deadlift, clean, hang clean, press, clean and jerk, snatch. And it is loadable and scalable. That is the most important thing. You should master the basics of everything you do. It doesn't matter what the apparatus is, you should master it, and that takes a long time. So, get to work.